To the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. The Israeli cabinet approving the agreement overnight, now set to begin tomorrow morning at 1:30 a.m. Eastern time. ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Soufi-Burge is in Jerusalem with the very latest. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Janae. Yeah, we're now just hours away from that ceasefire kicking in Gaza. Shortly after that, the first Israeli hostages will be released in the first phase of this historic deal, with Israel set to free nearly 2,000 Palestinians from its prisons in return for 33 Israelis, including all remaining female and child hostages, non-military men over 50, and the wounded and sick. Amongst that group, 2 Americans.
This morning, amid continuing desperation for food in Gaza, Israel now saying the initial 6-week ceasefire will take effect in the early hours of Sunday morning local time. Overnight, a dramatic 7-hour meeting in which some Israeli ministers opposed the deal, but Israel's government finally signing it off. In a document released this morning, Israel now confirming it will release more than 700 Palestinians held in Israeli prisons, including some convicted of serious crimes. As part of the deal, Israel will also free an additional 1,100 Gazans who didn't participate in the October 7 terror attack, but were being held by Israel without charge. Tomorrow, just hours after the ceasefire kicks in, the first 3 living female Israeli hostages are set to be freed by Hamas, in exchange for an initial group of Palestinians, 95 mainly female detainees. A further 33 Israeli hostages, including 2 Americans, Keith Siegel and Sagi Dechelchen, are set to be released in phases throughout the next 6 weeks. But the remaining 65 hostages in Gaza, a number of which are thought to be dead, will only be returned to Israel if the pause in fighting can be turned into a permanent truce. Israel now preparing 3 reception centres for the hostages along the Gaza border. And nearby in Egypt, aid trucks lined up, ready to head into the strip once the ceasefire begins. For now, Israel still striking Gaza. More than 120 people killed since the deal was announced on Wednesday night, according to Gazan officials linked to Hamas.
And guys, if we needed a reminder of how fragile the situation remains, we could hear air raid sirens in the distance and interceptions this morning. The IDF saying it shot down a missile launched from Yemen. And even though we're now counting down the hours to the ceasefire in Gaza, families of some of the hostages telling us they'll only know it's real when they get to see their loved ones in the flesh. Janae?
And that's exactly what I want to ask you about, Tom, because you mentioned that the first Israeli hostages will be released in the first phase of this deal, but you have more details about the timing of the release.
Yeah, sure. The ceasefire in Gaza is set to begin at 1:30 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. The first 3 Israeli hostages are then due to be released at 9 a.m. Eastern, and then dozens of Palestinians should be freed in the hours beyond that. But of course, this is just phase 1 of the deal, and it will be phased over 6 weeks. And there's really no guarantee the next stages and a permanent ceasefire will really happen. Janae?
So many families holding their breath, Tom. Thank you.